You know what's a good idea before you start recording? Making sure you turn the microphone on. Luckily, it'd been like 30 seconds. If I had done like an entire, half hour or hour segment without having the mic on, I think I just would have given up today and there'd just be no podcast this week. I would just be sick of it and not want anything to do with it. But anyway, welcome back to the show. My name is Brody Robertson. This is Tech of a Tea, episode 117. And if you're watching the video version, you can probably tell that things right now look a little bit different. By a little bit different, I mean I'm in a completely separate room. And you know what I can do now? This is going to be like some crazy advanced technology you've never seen before, right? I can move my chair backwards. Like, imagine that. Imagine being able to move your chair. Like, I have space. I can go all this way back. You can probably not even hear me right now. Like, all of this space that I can use is great. Oh, God, now I can't get this chair back. Don't put the chair on the carpet. Bad idea. Oh, man, I am so happy that I'm finally in this new space. Like, it has been a fucking journey. So, I'm still doing it. I'm going to take like a half week this week. I'm not doing any streams this week. I didn't plan to like record 6 videos either. Things happened. I did. I am very bad at taking breaks, so I got in the way of my own break. I will take a proper break at like some point in the future, but why the fuck is there blue fluff on my mic? I've got these new towels, and they're like terrible. I think I need to like wash them a couple more times, then I can actually like properly use them, because right now they just make a mess on everything that I wear, and then everything I touch becomes also covered in this stupid towel. Anyway, not talking about my towels right now. Okay, so the way I got myself moved in here, so my parents helped me move over. That was on Friday. So the Friday, whatever that was, 20th, 21st, whatever it was, something like that, a couple of days ago. No, Saturday, sorry. What? No, I did not, no. Saturday, not Friday. Friday I worked. So Saturday, we got everything in the car, got everything in the trailer, and everything in the ute, all that fun stuff. Had some of the stuff in my car, brought it over in basically an afternoon. I think we were done moving everything, because I didn't have that much stuff. Like, most of my stuff is in this room right now, and what isn't is like little things that I brought over myself and things like that. Like the main things that are moving were my bed, which is still just in the frame, but now outside of the frame, and my desk and computer. And computer went in my, the computer I could have brought over myself, but like the monitors and things were a bit harder, especially the glorified teleprompter I'm using as or the TV I'm using as a glorified teleprompter. So we got that in. Then I spent, I would say, I did sleep, so probably like next 20 hours? Yeah. Yeah, about the next 20, maybe more, maybe closer to like 25 hours, getting everything set up, getting that shelf over there, shelf over there built, the one with the anime figures on it, which I'll show you in just a moment. Getting, I don't know if you can see them actually. Getting those posters framed, the ones that I showed off, I think last week before maybe. They all look very nice now. Also, I can bring stuff close to the camera, and it doesn't get completely blown out by the lights, because as you can probably tell, yeah, look at that, you can actually see shit. As you can probably tell, that wall is lit up, and that's because I've got my overhead light on. I actually have no idea how this would look without that light on. Yeah, I'm gonna turn it off and see what happens. Let's see how bad this looks. You probably can't hear me right now. This probably sounds terrible. Let's see. Is this usable? Maybe not with my current lights. Like, I need to like brighten up my face lights. It's passable, I would say, but like it doesn't look anywhere near as good as actually having the lights on. But if I maybe if I wanted to use like a dimmer light or something like that, I could certainly get some looks. Or if I put like a smart bulb up there is probably a good idea if I wanted to do that, because then I could actually adjust it like as much as I wanted without having to go and mess around with stuff like, you know, flipping switches and shit. Because I do have like a little knob on the light switch there, which I thought was a dimmer. No, it's a switch to turn, or it's a knob to turn on the fan, which I'm not a big fan of overhead fans because they tend to shake, and when a fan shakes and it's directly above your head, it's a little bit intimidating. So I tend to not use them. Plus, we're going into, it's May right now, so like autumn, winter. I think we're in autumn. It's going into winter. Yeah. So that's basically how we got here. That shelf back there, the one with the anime figures and the books down the bottom, that one is a new shelf. It took me not that long to build, actually. Like, surprisingly so. It's I usually expect, you know, flat pack furniture to be an absolute pain in the ass. This one was a bit weird because some of the parts, the stickers had come off. So you won't be able to see it because I don't have my lens on where I can zoom in, but there's 3 separate, like, segments, like 3 separate, like, black bars. Like, they mark the different segments it's in. And the problem is they only go in one specific order. So you have to have the left side on the left side, the right side on the right side, and obviously middle. With no markers, I had to look at the diagrams and then line up the holes on the diagram with the holes on the bars themselves. So it took a little bit of time to get it like initially set up, but from there it was basically just like, hey, screw in this, put some shelves, like some shelf bottoms in, and we're good to go. Problem is, I did tighten up the shelf a bit too early, so I then had to untighten the shelf because it's not the best construction. Some of the parts were a little bit jank. Like, there's actually some missing screws in that because the screw holes were missing, or they were missing the, like, there's a little thing to make it easier to screw into the wood. And some of the stuff was just missing, and it's like, well, I can't do anything. I could, like, screw new holes, I guess, but besides that, I can't really do much. So it's not a big deal, though. Like, it's got most of the screws in there. Any of the ones that are missing screws, just missing one screw. Plus, there's nothing, like, heavy on it. It's just the anime figures. If I stand back here, I can't bring the mic with me, actually. I should get another mic that I can just bring around with me. That would be a great idea, especially for streams. But, like, we've got my Nendoroids on this shelf. Here's my vanilla one. You can't see them, but I do actually have a top shelf, like a shelf above as well. Yeah, there we go, something like that. A couple of, what do we have? We have a Einhart, Fate, and Sakura figure. We've got my Miku figure. Can't even see my hand. Miku figure in there, a couple of Rem figures, and then down the bottom, there are some Madoka figures down there that are still in boxes because I haven't taken them out of the box yet. The figures aren't in any sort of, like, reasonable order. I do need to, like, actually do something about it. Right now, they're basically just chucked up there. Like with the posters that are down on the floor, they need to be dealt with. I just haven't done so. So I'm probably going to do that. I'm going to say tomorrow. So, yeah, I reckon tomorrow. So the posters are going to go up along this wall. You'll be able to see most of them in most of my videos, but I just want posters there. If I change up where my camera's located, maybe have it be like a further away or a more like wide, I get a new like wide angle lens or something like that, you'd probably be able to see a lot more of what's like going on. But it is going to sort of break up this wall, which is already done pretty well by my new curtains anyway. These curtains weren't with the house. The initial curtains were these, like, they weren't bad curtains. They were these, like, brown curtains, which, with a brown floor, did make the room feel kind of boring. But they were these, like, regular brown curtains. This one here is, like, a actually a blackout curtain, unlike my old solution where I had a torn bed sheet. So this is a proper blackout curtain. If I open up this, you can probably see some of the light. Actually, no, you can't because it's there's a little light coming down there, but it's raining outside, so you won't be able to actually see much. Didn't go back to where it should be. I'll fix that. But I do have my my new desk as well. So that was one of the things I was kind of waiting on. So over here, is there anything on here that I shouldn't show? Is there something here that I won't show my address? Yes. This unmarked box that I can't show much more of because there are things on here you shouldn't see. This box is it's a triple monitor arm. Triple monitor arm, because you didn't hear me. Triple monitor arm. So that's going to be going on my new desk, which is going in the same spot as this one. It's just going to be a sit-stand desk. I did mention I was getting one, but that's one of the things I was kind of waiting on. That one has now showed up as of yesterday, and I haven't built it because it's a little heavy, and I don't want to lift it myself. So I'm waiting for Dylan to get back, and then he's going to help me build it. Does he know he's going to help me build it? No, but he's going to help me build it. He's going to help me build it. Basically how it goes. I've also got my my Switch set up as well. Not my Nintendo Switch. Don't have one of those. My my network Switch. So that's sitting under my bed right now. One side is going to my PS4, which... let's see if I can show you. Here we go. Yeah, there we go. You can kind of see where it is. In that box right there, in the middle of my fucking room, that's where the PS4 is. So yeah, that's how that do be. Previously, it was under my desk. Now I don't actually have that. That's the same one that used to be under my desk, like the basket thing I had. But it took up just too much space. I didn't like it being there, so now I've moved it, and now the spot it's in is really stupid, but it's not in my way anymore. I can't get this camera back to where it should be. And then, obviously, the other side of my Switch is going over to my PC here. And the way I've got it connected up to the... Oh my god, what? The way I've got it connected up to my modem is I've got a 25-meter Cat6 cable running through my hallway. So, yeah. It's going to be adjusted at some point where I'm not going to have it just running through the hallway. I'm going to have it on, like, probably... You can get these, like, little hooks, and they're good for, like, routing cables. I'm probably going to end up putting a bunch of those up and then just routing along the, like, top skirting board. And then... basically not have to trip on it anymore, because that's the main problem with what's going on with it right now. It's definitely a tripping hazard, and I would like to deal with it at some point. After a long 5 minutes of fucking... I didn't know it was 5 minutes. A long 2 minutes or whatever it was, camera's back in place. I really should just get a second... I've got a fucking webcam. Why don't I just get the webcam out whenever I want to move stuff? That would make it so much easier. It's still not in the spot that, like, I actually really wanted it to be in, but it's closer to where it should be, and it's good enough to just not touch it and leave it there for the rest of the show. I don't think there's much else to really mention. Oh, I am getting another bookcase. That's going to go next to... yeah, there we go. Roughly about there. And that's going to go... Like, that's where all those books down the bottom are probably going to go. Because I will get more figures to fill up the rest of the shelf at some point. I'm in no rush to get stuff. Or maybe not even figures. Maybe I'll get some other stuff. Like, you know, I can get some... I don't know. I can find something to put there. Like, you know, those light-up signs where you can, like, slide in different letters. You know, maybe I'll get one of those because every YouTuber needs to have something like that in their background. Maybe I'll... I do have the skull down there. I'm thinking of putting some lights in it, so maybe that'll happen. I am thinking of... So right now, this is basically how I'm recording most of my videos, but I am thinking of putting up some LED light strips. I'm not certain whether I'm going to do it. It's sort of just like something I am considering. Maybe, like, I've got some light strips up in my my wardrobe there, ones that I was going to use for something else, but maybe I will temporarily run them, or like run them in, yeah, like temporarily run them in like a testing fashion, and then if I like the look, actually set them up properly, otherwise just not bother with it. I don't think for my regular videos I'm going to go back to having the lights turned off and having like bright lights on in the background. I think if I was going to do like a dark background lighting, I would probably have to like have LED lights in the bookshelf, something like that. Something that's a lot easier to light. Like the main problem with the old one is, like the old setup is I genuinely could not have auto ISO on. So if I go and put it on auto ISO now, it's not going to be perfect. I moved the fucking camera again. God damn it. Here we go. Auto ISO. You're going to see it's actually really fucking good. Wow. That is much better than I thought it was. It is getting a little bit over brighter than it should be, I would say at least. But like that's entirely usable like that. I'm probably going to leave it like that when I stream. And maybe I'll leave it like that for the regular video. I don't know. Yeah, there we go. It does kind of freak out a little bit in some situations, but for them, like if something dark gets in its way, it seems like it does like freak out a bit for just a moment, but pretty much it's like entirely usable like this. I typically just like setting an ISO though, because, you know, if you're going to be just messing around, like you're just going to be sitting here, you might as well just have an ISO set. But if I do go and dim this, go and set the ISO off, and I step back a bit, it might actually brighten up my face. I don't know. What's it going to do? Nothing? Maybe not. Okay, maybe it's going to be fun. Maybe it's not going to do that then. But if I was to turn the lights off, it probably would go kind of crazy. Having more light makes it easier for the camera to handle like what to actually do. I might have to try out my old lens again and see if like my kit lens I had, because one of them, like, I do like this look for videos, but for streaming it might be kind of nice to have the option to do zoom ins, like actually do hardware zoom ins rather than, you know, just software zoom in. And for certain kinds of videos, you probably do want to be able to zoom in anyway. I like this lens. I'm gonna say I like this lens, but if this new setup gives me the ability to actually use my other lens as well, that would be nice, and that would be great. I am probably, one thing I might do is actually move this lens closer when I get the monitor arms in. I'm not certain on, you know, whether that's going to happen or what I'm going to do when the arms are in. All I know is I'm going to have a lot more space on this desk, and I'm certainly going to make use of it. But being a sit-stand desk, it is an automatic one, so I am actually going to use it. But being a sit-stand desk, I will need to make sure that a lot of my my cable mess I've got going on under this desk gets addressed. So when I plug stuff in down here, I knew I was getting a sit-stand desk, and I didn't fix any of it, so, which is fine. I guess everything will need to be unplugged anyway, but it's a fucking mess down there. Like, just think of the worst cable management you've ever seen, and it's probably that. Like, it's just not a good setup whatsoever. Oh, God. But I also have to just replace cables as well, because some of them are a little bit too short, like, especially some of my display cables. The cable on my second monitor here is definitely too short. Main monitor, I think, is fine. TV is going to come down. It's going to replace with a third monitor. Maybe Also, definitely the audio cable on my sound soundbar. The soundbar one is, I think, like a meter long, which is fine with the desk as is, but add in an extra 40 or 50 centimeters and it's not fine anymore. So I'll need to fix that and make sure it doesn't become a serious problem later down the lines. But we'll see what needs to be done when that needs to be done. Pretty much. Also, I didn't mention this before, but you know, we've got tea here. Not because I wanted to bring back the tradition, but that is certainly nice to do. You got to have tea at some point on the Take of a Tea. But I just want to fucking go to bed. I just want to go to bed. I should have just taken the fucking holiday and then came back after this week. I don't know why I decided to go, like, absolutely fucking hard for 2 days, and the third day, like, pretty much, like, what's the word? Half work? Oh, did my PC turn off? No, we just went into sleep mode. Lovely. You know what? I need to find some fix for that one. Tea. Occasionally when I'm streaming, or like I'm streaming a PS4 game, or I'm doing a podcast, my PC will just be like, hey, I'm gonna go to sleep now. That's not good. That's not good whatsoever. In case you're wondering what this is, just a ball of blue tack. Oh, here's a recommendation for posters. If you have posters and you put blue tack on them, firstly, don't do that because it's a bad idea. But if you do that, make sure you get the blue tack off. There is a lot of those posters back there where the Bluetooth it's made sections of the picture almost transparent. And getting blue tack off is annoying. And if you leave it on there for longer, it gets more annoying. So just deal with that and don't make it a problem you have to deal with later. I'm not putting them back up with blue tack. That would be really dumb, especially considering the fact that I'm using poster, like, I think they're certificate frames. They're like $3 to $4 each. They're literally the cheapest ones I could find. But I'm probably going to put them up with either the, you know, those command strips. I presume that they're in every country, most countries. Command strip. Here we go. Maybe. Is this just actually, are they an Australian brand? They might actually be an Australian. I don't know. Someone let me know if you know what these are. There are these, like, easy to remove, like, sticky things. Like, you can just stick stuff to the wall, and then when you want to remove them, you just pull the tab down, and then they just come off. I guess they're called 3M strips as well in some places. So I presume, look, you'll find them somewhere probably. This is probably how I'm going to put them up. Maybe with these ones, or maybe I'll use the hooks. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I've had some bad history using just the hooks. Granted, I was hanging something heavier back when I had a No Game No Life wall scroll up on my, I think it was back on my family house, way before I started doing YouTube. It fell off a couple of times, and when they fall off, sometimes they can pull down paint, so maybe I'll not go with that. The other option is using 4 of the regular sticky ones, and like you saw in that picture there, basically just like put them on the corners, and then you can just like slap them on there. And that should be way more than enough to hold up pretty much anything. But I'll work it out. Maybe I'll do a mix of the two or something. I don't know. I think either way, it's going to be a pain in the ass to get them hung exactly the way that I want them to be hung. Because I want them to be sort of in a, what's the word? In like a actual line, and have the lines like lining up. So I actually have to think about how to put them up. I'll probably get Dylan to help me just so I don't have to deal with it by myself. Once again, free labor. Free labor is great. I enjoy free labor. I'll buy him lunch or something. Maybe. If he lets me buy him lunch. I don't know. Okay, one thing I do hate about this room is I have a fucking mirror. It's on like a, on my what? My wardrobe, yeah. My wardrobe is like a 3-door wardrobe. If you saw my move-in video, you probably saw the mirror. But the mirror can move all the way across. So sometimes I leave it open. I'm gonna fix it right now. Sometimes I leave it open and I look to my fucking right and I'm just seeing myself stare back at me. It really bothers me. I already have my own view of myself in my fucking computer here. I don't want to look away from the computer as well. There we go. Deal with it. There, much better. It is nice. I'm sure it's nice for people who actually like having a giant mirror, but for me, I'm just like, I don't want to see that. I see enough of myself all day anyway. I don't need to see myself in a mirror as well. Anyway, I just want to talk about this, before we get into any of the actual topics, I want to talk about this, weird site I found that's got, like, I guess they're weird, like, SEO answered questions. Like, the answers to these questions make no sense, but I'm just going to read this one. Did Microsoft buy Linux? At the event, Microsoft announced that it has bought Canonical, the parent company of Ubuntu Linux, and shut down Ubuntu Linux forever. Along with acquiring Canonical and killing Ubuntu, Microsoft has announced that it's making a new operating system called Windows L. Yes, L stands for Linux. What is that? What is that answer? Like, a lot of the other answers in here aren't, like, terrible. Like, why is Linux better than Windows? Linux offers great speed and security. On the other hand, Windows offers great ease of use so that even non-tech savvy people can work easily on personal computers. Linux is employed by many corporate organizations as servers and OS for security purposes, while Windows is mostly employed by business users and gamers. Like, a reasonable answer. But then there's this right here. Top 10 most secure operating systems. OpenBSD, Linux, Mac OS X, Windows Server 2008, Windows 2000, Windows 8, Windows Server 2003, Windows XP. Now, some of those I think, you know, maybe you can make an argument for. Not Windows 2000, or Windows Server 2000 and Windows XP. I think those ones might be very far from secure, especially maybe in their day. Maybe in their day they were absolutely great, but if you're running an XP system today, you are asking to get your system completely fucking destroyed. It was bad enough when XP was a thing that, you know, regular people use. But if you're still running XP now, like, man, bad idea. Very, very, very bad idea. I actually didn't have this on my list of topics, but when I was on, I had The Verge open just before, and I saw a topic just sitting. Oh, was it Verge or PC Gamer? Might have been PC Gamer. Is it? Wait, where'd it go? Here we go. Nvidia announces Asus ROG Swift 500 Hz gaming monitor. 500 Hz. I didn't realize that Computex 2022 was going on right now. When did that start? Wait, when the... Wait, give me one sec. Computex... Is it going on right now? Literally yesterday. Okay. I wish the podcast was like 2 days from now because we'd have all of the Computex announcements. But anyway, 500 Hz Asus ROG Swift. I do wonder what this would be priced at. I'll check what the current 360 Hz monitors are priced at. During the keynote, Nvidia announced the new Asus ROG Swift 500 Hz. Here we go. So it's a 500 Hz screen at 1080p 24-inch. I do love that 1080p is just not going anywhere. Wait, with what Nvidia referred to as a brand new TN... No shot. They're shipping a TN panel? Man. Honestly, I remember when, like, most of the cheap gaming monitors were TN panels. Nowadays, like, you're gonna struggle to find TN. That's crazy. Okay. So while TN panels are fairly old tech, they're also very low latency. Well, if we went low latency, how about we go back to using CRT? Let's see. Nvidia crowned it the lowest latency, highest refresh rate G-Sync esports display ever created. It's been highly optimized for low latency gaming, meaning you're missing out on other features like a higher resolution display. Honestly, I don't care about most, like, 4K is great. Like, 4K is totally fine. I personally would prefer, like, if you're gonna ask me, do I want a higher refresh rate or higher resolution? Let's just assume we're running at 120 hertz. Like, 120 is great. Sure, you can go 360 and it's probably better, but 120, I don't think anybody is really going to complain. If you're going to ask me, do I want to have a higher, like, go stay at 1080p and have my refresh rate go higher, or stay at 120 hertz and go to 4K, I'm going to say I want to go higher refresh rate, probably. Most games, I would say that. Now, there are some games where I just wouldn't really care either way, and some games, like Stardew Valley, for example. Like, I don't really care. Stardew Valley's like, whatever, it's Stardew Valley. But if we're talking a game where, let's say Journey, for example, an old PS3 game, I think it eventually made its way to the PS4, a game like that is entirely about the artistic experience, in which case I'd probably prefer the higher resolution. But if I'm playing something where there's any action involved whatsoever, which is most games I play, I would say the higher refresh rate is going to be my go-to. 500 might be a little bit excessive, but hey, it is what it is. We don't have any pricing information on the Asus ROG Swift 500Hz gaming monitor just yet, but given its one-of-a-kind status and it is marketed at pro esports gamers, we're not expecting a cheap screen. It is going to be an incredibly ugly display, though. Like, without a doubt, it is a TN panel. Like, you can ship your TN panel and market it however you want, but a TN panel is a TN panel no matter what you do. Cool, so when are we getting those OLED gaming monitors I've been hearing about for the last 10 years? Never. Probably never. OLED, by the time OLED gaming monitors become a thing, OLED is just not going to be a thing. OLED is already, like, there isn't it like micro LED or something like that supposed to replace it? Don't ask me on, like, the top end, like, top end monitor stuff, but that's something I've heard, at least from my understanding. You know, the ones that aren't TV size, instead of a 27 inch, doesn't even have to be curved. Also, 24 inch is actually a really small display. Like, I personally don't like going above 20, going below 27 nowadays. I can use a 24-inch monitor, I just don't want to, basically. 1080p TN panel, it's like sticking a Ferrari engine in a Kia. That seems like a weird comparison, but sure. Yes, more hertz equals more gameplay. Maybe we need 1000 hertz monitor with silent aim installed. Never, I don't know what silent aim is. I'm guessing this is some sort of aimbot. Never lose again. Well, I think there is a point of diminishing returns. Sure, obviously your eyes don't see in you know, the old meme. Your eyes don't see above 30 FPS. You don't see in frame rate. That's just not how your eyes work. But obviously there's a point in diminishing returns. Like, if we have animation that is so smooth that it's hard to distinguish any of the individual details between the movement, obviously going above that point wouldn't really be a sensible thing to do. Like, say we have, like, it's the same with resolution though. Say you have a phone, but my phone's not on me. We use the calculator. Say you have a phone the size of this calculator, which isn't an unreasonably sized phone. It'd be like, you know, yeah, it'd be like, I don't know what this is across, but like 6.5 inches, maybe something like that. I don't know. Anyway, maybe 6, whatever, doesn't matter. If you have a 1080p phone, you can notice the difference between 1080p and 720p. But when you, like, 4K, you can notice, if you're really, really pixel peeping, you can notice a difference between 1080p and 4K. But I don't think any reasonable person is going to notice anything after that. Like, when, you know, whatever they call it, 6K, and then they go up to 8K phones become a thing. If that ever really happens, which I don't expect it to, because most phones are still 1080p, maybe some are 1440p. You've got, like, very specific high-end phones that are 4K, but generally that's just not a thing that's happening. Above that point, like, the pixels are so small that adding in more pixels, sure, if you are getting your phone, like, right in front of your face like this, maybe you can spot a difference, but regular day-to-day usage, I can't see that really being the case. I want to check how much these 360 Hz monitors are. We'll do this exact same monitor. So, Asus ROG Swift 360 Hz. Not 260, I want 360. Okay, yeah, 360 Hz. This is the same sizing as well. Actually, no, let's go to, yeah, Amazon here. Lovely. Thank you, Amazon. This is US pricing as well, so I'll check the Australian pricing in just a moment. That's not even that bad. That's actually not even that bad, to be honest. This is 500 of the US dollars. Let's see. The Australian pricing, yeah, so it's, okay, you can't see it right there, but that is about $1,000. That's, you know, not crazy, obviously it's very expensive, but it's not, like, crazy expensive considering what it is. Which, prior to the announcement of this 500 Hz display, was basically, you know, top of the line. So I would guess 2,000? 2,000 is my assumption. We'll see what the pricing is actually like when, you know, actual pricing does happen. But, you know, until then, I think it's probably fair to say that it'll be around $2,000. That's not crazy for a monitor. Like, there are so much more expensive monitors if you really start, like, digging into the space, but it's also not, yeah, it's not unreasonable, if that makes sense. Speaking of things that are not unreasonable, PCSX is having a update. It's had an update. It's in the process of getting updated. The PS2 emulator PCSX gets a user-friendly UI at last. Personally, I've never really been, like, that against the way PCSX already looked. I'll see if I can bring it up, actually. PCSX 2. I guess I'm still using the older version, or the UI isn't available on the Linux side yet. But I'll take a picture of this. We will save this. Yes, we'll save this, put it there, and then if I go over to this bit, and I drag it into my browser, then we should be able to see it. Here we go. So this is how my interface looks right now, and, like, you load everything in through these menus here, and it does the job. But with the new update, with the new Qt version, it's gonna have, like, an actual UI. Now, this art obviously isn't being loaded by the, or isn't being created by PCSX2 itself. This is being loaded by the file that you decide you actually want to have there. So you can get that art from places like the Cover Project, which I didn't actually know about, but I guess this is a place that has a bunch of a bunch of game covers for random ass games. That's cool. Wait, what the hell's here for Linux? What? Why are there just these random ass covers here? What? Oh, is the cover art for the Ubuntu 7.04 box? That's I kind of love that, actually. But yeah, if you want to get some art here, you can do it there. That's cool. I don't think it's a bad idea to start focusing on things like this with the state that, PS2 emulation is in. If we were talking about PS3 emulation, where PS3 emulation is still, you know, a little bit sketch. It's pretty slow, and there's a lot of optimization that needs to be done. I would say then, yeah, you're probably wasting your time. Actually work on the things that need to be worked on. Same with PS4, same with Xbox 360, all of that fun stuff. But PS2 and earlier is basically complete. Like, sure, there's a couple of things here and there which don't work properly in PS2 emulation. But it's not unfair to say that it's like 95 to 98% accuracy, which, not perfect. But this is the point in time where it kind of does make sense to start actually making things be better and better. Apparently, this also looks like a UI from DuckStation, which I've never heard of. So this is a PS1 emulator, I guess. That's neat. I don't actually have any PS1 games that I would like to emulate anyway, so I haven't really looked into the PS1 space, but that is cool. Yeah, here we go. PCSX2 is the best way to play PS2 games, proudly declaring it supports over 98% of the original PS2 library. I don't know if they've actually tested that, considering how big the PS2 library is. That seems kind of unlikely, but hey, if you've tested 98, if you've tested that many games, like, yeah, go right ahead and go and claim it. But yeah, this is cool. I think it's totally fine to make your UI look prettier if you're at that state. Here we go. It is, it's only on, wait, it's a Qt interface, but it's only on the Windows 10 and Windows 11. Okay, sure. It's Qt. There's literally a desktop environment built entirely around Qt. Why not on Linux just yet? Long overdue, but I'll stick to a launch box for my front end. I'm guessing that's like a plugin or a client or something like that. Launch box. Front end, wait, what is this? Wait, what did that just say? Front end for emulation, DOSBox, and other things. Show me pictures. About screenshots. There we go. Thank you. That does look pretty neat. Yeah. That looks actually really, really cool. Obviously, this isn't just for PS2. This is showing N64 and some other stuff in here. But I think that's really cool looking. I think it's a little bit, like, excessive with how it looks. Like, I totally get, you know, wanting to have this. It's a mix between, like, a modern minimalist style, but then also, like, 90s retro arcade style. It's a very strange style they're going for. I personally prefer what's being done with PCSX2, but if you like that as well, hey, that's also really cool. Here we go. What does this person say? So when do we move from preservation of gaming history by making games work well with current hardware to go have a pretty UI? Who cares how it plays? This person doesn't know the state of PCSX2. The UI was fine, but okay. We're well past the point where it's okay to keep pretending user-friendly means you shouldn't have to put the slightest effort to just read. It was already impossible not to understand how to use it. I don't know if this person's used PCSX2 before, but it's like really easy to get confused with how it functions. Like basic stuff, just like knowing how to load in the PS2 BIOS files. Or like right now I'm seeing a couple of menus. We have the system menu, we have the CD/VD menu, config, debug, capture, and then help. Some of those ones make sense, but what the hell is CD/VD? Why is the system section not include our ISO selector? What is an ISO? Why do I care what an ISO is? Shouldn't I, like, why can't I just care about my games? Like, obfuscating that stuff from the users who don't care about it is certainly an improvement to the UI, whether it's, like, regardless whether it's something that you personally like yourself. I was fine with it before, but I'm also fine with it being improved to actually, like, look better for the people who actually want it to look better. So, speaking of things being better, AMD is going fucking crazy with their new CPUs. So, the Ryzen 7000 CPUs, at least some of them, are probably going to break the 5 gigahertz barrier. So, this was once again from Computex, which I should have realized considering what was being announced. This is... Do they say exactly which chip it was? Do they say which chip it was? I don't know if they do. It's probably their top end, though, considering that it's being compared with Intel's top-of-the-line i9 SKU. That's crazy. Like, it's genuinely insane. Like, over 5 gigahertz is... That's stupid. Like, not to say that the amount of gigahertz you have determines directly the speed of the CPUs. But it is pretty crazy to say that both Intel and AMD have above 5 gigahertz CPUs. I don't know when that'll be in, like, the reasonable general user space, but I'm sure it'll happen at some point. Also, it's going to be a 5nm CPU, but, you know, if you've ever heard Linus talk about it, you'll know that the way that the nanometers are measured isn't consistent between different fabrications. So when something's a 5nm, it can actually be bigger than, like, someone else's 7nm. I don't know how Intel would define this. Maybe they would also define it as a 7nm, as a 5nm, sorry, but all I know is they're probably going to be fast. Whether I'm going to buy one is pretty clear. I'm not going to buy one. I don't have any reason to buy a new CPU at this point, especially because it is going to require a new socket. So, yeah, I'm just going to not do that for a while because I don't need a new CPU at this point, so it's not going to happen. GPU, you know, I can justify actually spending that, but yeah, my CPU does what my CPU does, and it does what it does at a reasonable enough speed, and I'm not really having any problems where I need to address it. Plus, I don't really like buying new hardware. Like, by new hardware, I mean, like, new hardware on, like, a new node or a new socket, things like that, just because you're always going to have those initial teething errors. And I would prefer someone else to deal with it, and then I can deal with it later down the line. So a lot of the time, even like a new AMD GPU will come out, and then there'll be problems day one on the AMD side, and it's like, well, you gotta make this kernel modification and that modification, but you gotta, like, do some stuff to the drivers, things like that, and it's just, I don't want to deal with that hassle. Like, I'm happy to take the hassle of using Arch Linux, but that's basically as much of the hassle as I actually want to get from using my computer. After that point, I'm just going to go back to being like, you know what? I'm going to chill. I'm just let everything else just do its thing. It'll pan out. I will deal with it later down the line. But someone's got to do it, and I'm sure someone will. Either way, this is probably going to be a fun CPU. I don't know if CPU pricing... Actually, I don't know what CPU pricing is like right now. Obviously, all PC hardware is fucking very high, but let's go to AM4 5000, 5600X. No, that's basically... Maybe it's higher than what I paid? Maybe? I think it's much higher. Obviously, because, you know, we're not doing CPU mining at this point, so CPUs weren't as affected by the crazy crypto stuff. And because they weren't as affected by the crazy crypto stuff, there being a like, chip shortage and things like that, they weren't affected as much by that, but they were affected somewhat. I am happy that if you just want to, like, if you want to build a very low-end system that just has, like, an APU in it, you can still reasonably do so without completely breaking the bank. But hopefully that dies down at some point. You actually can buy something reasonable. My hope with the GPUs is when the new GPUs come out, people sell their old GPUs, and there's a flood of new cards on the secondhand market, which should push those prices down and make it so if you don't want to buy the newest top of the line cards, you still can get something that is like reasonably priced and still reasonably fast without going back, buying like a 900 series from Nvidia or something like that, which is probably still fast enough for a lot of games, but is definitely getting up there a bit in its age, and is getting to the point where Nvidia would be looking to, stop driver support for it. And that's the biggest problem with buying a much older system like that, a much older card like that. When it's that old, it's at the edge of the support window, and when it's at that, you can get the old drivers, it's just they're not going to be optimized for newer games, and yeah, it's not something that I would suggest going and dealing with. Something that might be fun to deal with, though, is this right here. I believe Ren retweeted this. This is the TinyTendo, a real hardware NES handheld that is the size of the original Game Boy. This is not emulation. It is not a Pi. It is not a no AC. I don't know what that is. I've not heard that terminology before. We'll go back to that one in just a moment. And it is not an FPGA. This is real NES hardware from a real NES. This project will be open sourced in a few weeks. So he does this Twitter thread here basically explaining what's been going on. I'll be doing a detailed write-up on how I pulled this off soon, so stay tuned. The TinyTendo utilizes real NES chips that have been physically cut and ground down smaller. A simple rundown is that I sand away the bottom of the chip till I hit the I'm sorry, what? A simple rundown is that I sand down the bottom of the chip till I hit the die and leads. Then I cut the chip smaller with a Dremel. The end result is 10 by 10 by 2 millimeter and surface mountable. Oh my god, this is fucking terrifying. The cut chips are less than 7% of the original size by volume. What? And fit on a PCB smaller than a Raspberry Pi 3. The cutting process is done entirely by hand. Oh god, that's terrifying. The TinyTendo uses mini cartridges designed for me by the awesome Bucket Mouse Byte. I can't say words. But the really cool thing is about using real hardware for their handheld is you could use the original carts with an adapter if you wanted. Oh my god. And then someone leaves a stupid snarky reply. That's way bigger than OG Game Boy. Still cool though. And then he puts it next to an OG Game Boy. So like what are you even saying? What are you even he didn't oh, custom cartridges. Like, yes. Did you not read the thread? What is the screen resolution? It uses a 320 by 240 3.5 inch panel. That would be really fucking nice looking, actually. Isn't that what the DS had? One second, I want to check what the DS had. Nintendo DS. Let me see here. It had... where do we have... no, it's actually a higher resolution than the DS. Okay, it is a higher resolution than the DS screen. So, that should look really nice, actually. It doesn't use all of the screen real estate when displaying video from an NES, so the bezel opening is actually covering up the ugly blank areas. Okay. The actual diagonal is about 3.25 inches after the fact. Wait, was it bigger than the screen in size, though? I can't find the size of the screens on here. Because they were different sizes, if I recall correctly. I'm sure it's somewhere around here, but I'm just not going to bother finding that. Man, this is just cool. This is just really, really cool. It's not a project that I would sit down and do, but if you really like NES games and you want to take like a really cool project to build a custom handheld for them, man, that seems like it'd be fun. I hope this guy does follow through what he said and actually does open source the designs. But yeah, considering the fact that he's done this plenty of times before, this is by no means the first time he's built a custom hardware, things like that. Presumably, he will eventually follow through. He does have a Patreon as well. So if you want to go and support, he has 7 patrons. Man. This dude deserves more support, to be honest. Like, honestly. He's also got a GitHub here. Let's see what else is on his GitHub. Let's see. Oh, wait. I take back what I said about the OpenTendo. It's literally already here. Or is this a... Oh, no, wait. Wait, sorry. Is that a different project? Sorry. Is it different? No, yeah, it is. Okay. So OpenTendo is different from TinyTendo. Oh, he remade the NES motherboard. Okay, Jesus. What else has he done? The world's smallest NES controller. He just likes NESs, I think. Wait, what the what the fuck is this thing? Okay, sure. Sure, why not? This is cool. I presume he's gonna make it open source at some point. So when it is open source, please do go and support it. And if you want to build it for yourself, show me the result if you actually go through with it. I certainly wouldn't have the balls or the knowledge to go and do so myself. But if someone does, I would love to see it. Also, go and share this around and make sure people actually know this is a thing. I want to look at the quote tweets. Is there anyone being an asshole in here? Sometimes quote tweets do. Sometimes they don't. Do we have anything? No, it seems like everyone's just being nice. There's Ren. I'm also absolutely horrified of ruining my NES and will never attempt this. This is how I feel. I don't own an NES, but I'll have to like buy one specifically for this and I would break something. Okay, it seems like when someone's actually doing something cool, people are just, you know, happy. Like, which is good. Unlike, you know, when some people do some cool stuff, like when, was it Logan or Jake Paul that did the big art piece that had the Game Boys in it? And people were like, oh my god, how dare you destroy Game Boys? The most popular handheld ever sold in history. You can literally buy them for like $20 on eBay. But how dare you destroy some Game Boys? No one's being crazy about that. No one's been like, how dare you destroy an NES? Maybe because it's still functional. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's where the arbitrary line of the sand exists. If you break the hardware to make something, people freak out. But if you don't, or you make something that's still functional, then people are gonna be happy. I think I'm overthinking it, to be honest. Probably am. Yeah, I definitely think I am. So I just took a break for a moment and noticed something going on my Discord. A couple of the guys over there were talking about this terminal they just discovered. This terminal called Warp. And you know what? I fully support the grift. So back on April 5th, 2022, TechCrunch posted this article. You can't see it because it's on the wrong window. TechCrunch posted this article. Warp raises $23 million to build a better terminal. The terminals often feels like an afterthought, and there hasn't been a lot of innovation in this space for a very long time. What? What do you mean? Do we just forget that Alacrity and Kitty exist? Sure. No innovation. Zero innovation. Sure. Warp, which is launching its public beta today and announcing 23 million in funding, is trying to change this by building a new command line terminal that aims to make better developers more productive. Or aims to make developers more productive. Now the Warp public beta is only available on macOS, but the company promises Windows and Linux versions in the future. When it gets a Linux version, I'm without a doubt doing a video on it. As the company announced today, it previously raised a 6 million seed round led by GV. What? Why did it get 23 million? I've been a developer now for 20 years. Warp co-founder and CEO Zach Lloyd, who was previously a principal engineer at Google and the interim CTO for Time. I've always been a terminal user. I've always thought it was kind of a weird app, to be honest. But it's an interesting app in the sense that it's ubiquitous. You walk by any developer's desk and they're going to have a terminal open. There are only a couple of apps like that. The terminal and the code editor. Web browser, I would argue, is probably on that list. And chat application. And yeah, probably that. You can argue music app, but I would say terminal, code editor or IDE, and chat app. Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting leverage point for doing something that would have an impact across all developers. And then if you can get really good at it, you actually get a load of productive gains. Out of the box, Warp works with shells like ZSH, Fish, and Bash, which makes sense because it's going to run on macOS, which has ZSH, Fish. Well, it ships with ZSH, you can run Fish and Bash. In many ways, the user experience is reminiscent of a modern text editor with code completion and auto suggestions. So we're going to go over to the documentation here and see what it actually can do. But there are also features like cursor positioning, the ability to move back through your terminal. 23 million! But there are also features like cursor positioning. The ability to move back through your terminal history command and then copy the output with a single click. You mean the thing that most terminals can already do? And then copy the output with built-in documentation. Do you mean for the terminal or for the applications? I hope you mean for the terminal, that isn't like a selling point. You can just run a man page on every terminal that exists. There are features that may seem obvious at first, but aren't really available in today's terminals. Being able to move the cursor wherever you need it shouldn't be a new thing in terminals. But it is? No, it's not! Has this writer ever used a terminal? Oh my god! The Warp Terminal does, of course, feature standard features like tabs, sure, split panes, keyboard shortcuts, and built-in SSH. What do you mean built-in SSH support? You run at the SSH command. What are you saying? What are these words? With Warp, developers can also share workflows with the rest of their team. This is where we get into really fucking dangerous stuff that shouldn't be in a terminal. While at Google, Lloyd worked on Google Docs, and he noted that something he took away from that is that anytime you can take an existing desktop app and add collaboration and teamwork on top of it, you can unlock quite a bit of productivity. It's maybe no surprise then that collaboration is part of what he hopes will make Warp stand out and be part of the company's monetization strategy. This actually is a like new feature. It's just not something you probably want in the terminal. Currently, the collaboration features mostly center around the ability to easily share commands and their output, as well as workflows, but soon Warp will also introduce the ability to share... Share what? Did You didn't finish the sentence. Warp will also introduce the ability to share. I'm reading that right. They just stopped the sentence. Anything else to note in the TechCrunch article? No. Okay, so there is this demo here. Let's have a look at the demo. Let's do it on YouTube. I guess this is a teaser. So let's see what it can do. So, commands and outputs are grouped together. So we have a line, which is something you can do with a shell command. Oh, with a shell plugin. Multi-cursor editing, which, hey, is neat, but, you know, isn't really that new because you can already do this in ZSH. Because you can, ZSH has this, like, Vi mode where you can open up the command in Vi and then do all of that. So, yeah, it's not actually a new thing. Okay, what else can we do? Let's see. What else do we have that's new? We have, look at that. We have autocomplete. It is a graphical autocomplete, which is a little bit different to the way that a lot of terminals do it, but I've seen other terminals do this. Like this, having tab completion like that isn't new by any means. And also, this is going to be very, very picky about what it works with. Because these are definitely custom written. These are not extracted from the man page. I'm 99% sure that's not extracted from the man page. I'm going to check it right now just to be sure. GPG-sign. Actually, wait. Git-commit. We'll do it on that one. GPG-sign. Nope. That is... Okay, no, maybe it is being extracted from the man page. Okay, I take back what I said. I was wrong about that. But that also means the documentation isn't going to be very useful all the time because a lot of it is being cut off. So a lot of the time, the first sentence doesn't actually say anything that useful. But I was wrong. I'll admit that. What else do we have? Visual history. Basically, what we've done is taken a regular terminal. Look at this. Look, I'm going to show you something, right? Okay. Here is the history command. I don't know why it's showing that. My history is a little bit scuffed because of random stuff that I've got set up. Here we go. Bring here. And boop. Look at that. History. Crazy. And with certain commands and certain setups, you can just like scroll back through the history as much as you want. So that's also not new. And this is history search anyway. So I can do that by just pressing Control R and then search back through the history. Sure. Okay. Something totally not new. Command palette. I've seen this in... This is basically like commands for the terminal itself. So you want to do things like, you know, open up new tabs, things like that. Make a split, things like that. I've seen that before in a couple of terminals, mainly the Electron ones. But this is native Rust, so it is going to be a lot faster than those Electron ones. That is something that is a selling point. I'll give it that. It's definitely going to be... It'll definitely be a quick terminal. They don't show the most terrifying feature. Do they mention it here? They don't mention it here. You can make a permalink. So you can actually make a link to something that you've put into your shell, which is totally not going to be very exploited when it comes out and people realize that there's like a massive bug in it. What is this SSH thing here? What do we have? When you SSH into a remote box, you get all the features of Warp without any configuration on your part. Like every other terminal on the planet. What? Wait, what do you mean? Wait, what do you mean you get the features of Warp. Of course you do. You're using SSH in your terminal. Don't understand how they got 23 million. AI command search. Okay. So this is converts natural language descriptions into shell commands. Okay, I'll give you that. That one actually could be cool. Okay, you know what? That actually is neat. I'll give you that. Write documentation and ask. Yep, okay. Yeah, that actually is a cool feature. It's probably going to steal all of your data, but it's not something I've seen before, and I would say is potentially a selling point for certain people. Workflows. Yeah. How is this different from an alias? What do we have here? So, what are we doing? Are these like autofill commands? I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Like you can, yeah, so these are commands that have patterns in them, and then you can go through and replace the patterns. Okay, that's neat. I'm pretty sure there are ZSH plugins that you can do this with. Also, yeah, you can do this with Vim already. There's also that. You need a context switch, which I guess if you think is a bigger deal, but I would argue that completely blocking your entire screen is equivalent to context switching anyway. So I would say that's basically the same thing. They're not easily parameterized. I would say this is probably as easily parameterizable as you would be able to do it in Vim anyway. So, what do we have here for themes? Okay. Themes are located in the .warp directory. Sure. You have themes. Okay. It syncs with your system theme. Hey, look, that's neat, I guess. Prompt. Ooh. Enable custom prompt support by navigating. You need to enable the custom prompt. Shut the fuck up. Oh, God. Okay. Wait, power level 10k and Z-plug? Z-plug is not a prompt. What? Why is power line shell not working? How is power line shell not working? All you're doing is generating text on your screen. How did you manage to break that? Oh my god, I'm impressed by some of this stuff, actually. Notifications. Oh, what is this? Okay, it's just, okay, accessibility. What do we have here? Warp with voiceover. Okay, that's nice. But you can already do voiceover in other workflows, but how is it different? As you may notice, typical voiceover navigation keys or settings do not currently work in Warp. In short, it's related to how our UI framework... Wait, you're saying it's worse? Okay, I guess that's a good selling point. Compact mode. What is compact mode? Warp offers the option to enable compact mode, which condenses the space in between blocks. Oh, so it just enables regular terminal mode. I like how they call a regular terminal compact mode. That's actually beautiful. Oh my god. I don't know how they've raised 23 million for this. I genuinely don't. Like, sure, it's probably going to be a good terminal. Like, I'm not going to say it's going to be a terrible terminal or anything like that. I wouldn't really want to run a proprietary terminal, but I'm sure that someone's going to. There is a GitHub, but it doesn't actually have the source code on it. So, this is the terminal. It has, I think it's just their, yeah, it's got the themes, which, hey, that's cool. You've got themes on here. You've got, what is this, workflows? So I'm guessing the repo for all public work. Okay, so this is the default, like, autofill commands they have available. And then the key sets, I'm guessing is keyboard shortcuts. But the actual source code here is certainly not available. There's 700 issues here. I guess people are really excited for this. Maybe they just don't... Wait, does Alacrity work on macOS? Alacrity macOS. Yes. Okay. Look, I'm not saying... Also, it's a cloud-based terminal. There's also that. I'll go to their website. Because everything's going to be fucking cloud-based. That's where the AI comes from. So that's where it's going to steal all your data from. Warp is a blazingly fast, Rust-based terminal reimagined from the ground up to work like a modern app. It's certainly got some inspiration here from Visual Studio. Like, I think this can be good if it's actually fast. Because all of the stuff that this app is doing, except for the AI stuff, has been done in, what the fuck's the terminal called? Electron terminal. Hyper. Yeah, a lot of the same stuff has been done in Hyper. Hyper, though, is slow as fuck. But, as I said, this is going to be a native Rust application. It's going to run at 60 FPS on 4K screens. Yeah, like every terminal should already. Along the way, we built our own UI framework. Why did you do that? Input feels like a code editor. Any other fun stuff I didn't mention? Terminal sharing. Here we go. So you can have multiple people typing on the same terminal, but that makes no sense because... Wait, can they both output commands at the same time? Because if they can't do that, literally all they're doing is screen sharing. Look, that's new. I'll say it's new. I just don't see the point of it. What else do we have? Run your documentation inside the terminal. Replace wikis with native terminal document... Oh, notebooks that mix documentation and CLI commands. So it's a markdown. It's a markdown document. It's a you made a markdown document renderer. What else do we have in here? So who is shilling it? Anyone that I recognize? I'm not seeing anyone. Anybody? No. The CEO at GitHub. Well, I guess the CEO at GitHub thinks it looks cool. Oh, look, I'm gonna say it looks cool. I'll give it that. I just don't understand how they made 23 million for this. I respect the grift. Look, I want to say that. I want to make this very clear. I totally respect the grift. If you can convince people to pay you $23 million to do something that is not worth $23 million, I respect that. And I can respect the hustle. Man's gonna make some money. But, yeah, I'm not gonna run a proprietary terminal. I wouldn't suggest doing so either. Just like I wouldn't suggest using a proprietary web browser because there are just good open source ones. Like, just use anything else. But anyway, let's talk about, what do I want to talk about? Oh, we'll talk about this. So, years ago, back in, I guess it was 2012, Dragon's Dogma came out. Now, if you've never played Dragon's Dogma, it is a... How do I describe Dragon's Dogma? So, it's in many ways, a typical RPG. Like a typical medieval RPG. You go around with your crew, and you do the typical RPG things. It's got a action combat system. It's a fun action combat system. It's got classes, but the classes, I believe you can just swap out at will. Yeah, like in town, like a lot of the Dragon Quest games, you can just roll yourself as a different class, swap out your gear, and do all that fun stuff. What made Dragon's Dogma, like, really special, though, is the way that it did its party system. So firstly, the AI was actually good, especially for 2012 AI, like really good for 2012 AI. They would actually like make out calls. They would do things that made sense. So if you're fighting like let's say you were fighting a griffin, for example. I guess the griffins were weak to fire. Or like these big orcs here. I think you could like hit their eyes with lightning or something and it would blind them, if I recall correctly. You could like hit them with lightning and it would blind them in some way. The AI would actually like do things that made sense. You could have like a support character and they would actually cast support spells on you that made sense at the time. The game was horribly balanced. Like, you couldn't reasonably play some of the classes. You could also get yourself into situations where you didn't have the like, damage type to be able to kill something. So, like, you need fire damage, and you don't have fire damage, and then you literally are not able to kill anything. So things like that could happen. But the party system. So, when you got, I think it was, like, after the first boss, maybe just before the first boss, you find this, like, magical stone thing, and there's the system called the pawn system. So these were basically a second character that you could develop, and they would be along your entire journey. But you didn't just have your own pawn. The rest of your party were pawns that came from other people's worlds. So you would go into this, like, really, you go into, like, this mist realm sort of thing. I don't know what it was actually called, but you could then recruit other players' characters. I don't know if it would still even be possible to finish the game right now, just because I don't know if there would actually be, like, characters in all the level ranges. That's the only problem it did have. It made sense at the time we were playing the game, but nowadays it might be not great. But you'd recruit these pawns from other people's worlds. You could swap them out as much as you want. So let's say you wanted to have some rogues, you wanted to have some archers and things like... You wanted to have a support character, but you didn't want to make your character support, your pawn a support. There's probably going to be a support in your level range. And the pawns that you bring from other worlds, they don't level up while you have them with you, if I recall. So you would have to be constantly swapping them out, finding new pawns that are going to, like, be around your level range. It was a really fun system. I really enjoyed it. The combat was also pretty straightforward. I believe it was just, like, you had maybe 8 abilities, I want to say. And they're on, like, one of the trigger buttons. So they're on your face buttons, and then on the trigger button, you could swap to another set of them. I think that was the case. Maybe it wasn't like that. Also, holy shit, the way that magic worked in this game... I don't... Okay, if we're going to have a slow magic system, I want it to be a slow magic system where you feel like a fucking god. Dragon's Dogma, Meteor spell. Here we go. So when you got to, like, some of the higher level magic, you felt like an absolute fucking god. It took a while to cast the spell, and it would, like... Yeah, there we go. Give it just a moment. You start hovering in the air, and then... fucking meteors just fly down. Like, it just makes you feel really, really powerful. Actually, let's see if I can find a video showing off all the high spells. High spells. Yeah, here we go. So I don't know what spell's gonna be... Okay, this is showing off all of the spells. This is the... I think it was like basic fire spell. Then we have the basic lightning spell. There were like... I think it's the... Is that a landmine? Or is that dropping something on the... Oh, no, that was your... Ah, you also had this like wall, like fire wall spell you could use as well, which also was really fun. Let's see if we can skip ahead to when some of the big dick spells are coming out. Oh yeah, here's one of the high level ice spells. Not like highest level, I believe. But you could summon this giant fucking pillar of ice out of the ground, and if you hit something with it, it would just knock them back. Like, man. What was this dark spell here? Oh, this was one of, I think this was like a higher level wall spell, maybe? Oh, no, I know what this is. Yeah, this is the tornado spell. You summon a giant fucking tornado. Like, what even is this? And it just keeps going. What else do we have? What is this one? This is a high level. What was this? I actually don't know what this one is. Oh yeah, this is a high level earth spell. You cause these giant pillars of stone to fly out of the ground. Is this the fire spell? Would be meteors, I believe. Yeah, fire spell was meteors. Okay, so no, that ice spell I showed actually was the high level ice spell. Like either have mages be like this, or have mages be like really fast moving. Those are my like two ways of doing mages. When it's like in between. When it's like, oh, you're slow, but you don't feel that powerful. It's just not something I really enjoyed seeing. But I certainly enjoyed playing spellcasters. I believe the rogues were probably the most powerful. What is this one? Sorcerer is OP. Why is the sorcerer OP? Oh my god, you could just melt health bars. I don't think I've ever actually finished this game though. Sadly. I think I've like restarted the, oh my god, that is kind of insane. I've restarted a couple of times, and every time I played it, it was like a lot of fun. So I do want to go back and actually properly play it and properly finish it at some point. I'll check if it's still actually playable considering the way the systems work nowadays. Like what is possibly available is possibly still not available. Things like, it seems like this guy's playing solo though, so like has no party. So maybe it is like still entirely playable if you want to play like a sorcerer or something like that. Man, that's fucking crazy. Maybe I'll have to stream this game at some point. Maybe it'll happen. But the reason why I brought up Dragon's Dogma is because the 10th anniversary happened, and there's like a 10th anniversary website, which is really strange because the game sort of just sat there dead for a while. We had the first game, we had Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which was basically the game re-released with an expansion pack. It's basically Game of the Year edition, effectively. And then there was the Dragon's Dogma anime, there was the Dragon's Dogma MMO that never came to the West. I've never played it myself. I have no idea if it's any good. Considering it never came to the West, I would probably guess not. But back when that answers my question, as it opened in 2015 and then shut down in 2019. So that would be a big no then. But there was this 10th anniversary website, and back when the Nvidia, like, what was it? Nvidia, what was that online service they had? It says it in this article. The Nvidia games leak from, what the fuck was it called? GeForce Now, that's what it was. There was the GeForce Now leak. One of the games on that list was Dragon's Dogma 2. Does that mean we are getting a Dragon's Dogma 2 at some point? Considering the fact that a lot of the games on that list have actually become real things? I would say it's entirely possible. Like, it's not guaranteed that every single game is gonna be real, but a lot of the games did happen. So does that mean it's actually, you know, going to become a thing? You know, I would say very, very possibly. Very possibly. And if it does become a thing, I would be super happy about that. And it's weird that you would, like, keep doing random things with the game if you're not gonna, at some point, either re-release it again, make, like, a newer version of Dark Arisen, maybe another expansion, something like that, or make a sequel game. Considering the fact that, like, it got an anime. Like, why did it get a Netflix anime, like, years after it came out, with the project basically being dormant? Like, yeah, it's been re-released on the Switch and on PS4 and Xbox One, things like that. If nothing's gonna happen, I have hopes. I have some level of hope that it actually does happen, and if it does, I am going to be very, very, very excited about that. Some of the games that are on this list, though, like, you know, it aren't really surprising. Like, hey, there's gonna be another Gran Turismo. Like, okay, yeah, probably. Or like, hey, there's gonna be more. Actually, what else? A BioShock RTX remaster would actually be really cool. I hope that actually does become a thing. What else do we have? We have... Actually, Mirror's Edge would also do really, really good for that as well. But, like, anything that's a sequel, like, hey, there's going to be another Monster Hunter game. Hey, look, there's going to be another Street Fighter. More Gears games. Another Tekken game? Whoa. Like... a lot of it wasn't super surprising, but... the stuff that was surprising is still coming true. So, please, give me Dragon's Dogma 2. I want Dragon's Dogma 2. If it gives me... Look, get me just to rebuy Dark Arisen again. I will do that. I will actually play through the game and actually finish it. How much is... Actually, you know what I'm going to find out? We're going to find out two things. Firstly, what is the rating on the Proton DB? Dragon's Dogma. It has a gold rating. Okie dokie. And it costs... How much does it cost on the Steams? It costs $45. You know what? Maybe the faces were a little bit scuffed. Look, let's show this guy. And look at this guy. Like, what is wrong with your face, man? Why are you moving your face like that? $45 may be a bit much for a 6-year-old game, but it is still tempting. It is still Dragon's Dogma. Maybe I'll wait for it to be on sale. Considering it's Capcom, though, Capcom is not great at making their games on sale. I'll put it onto my like, what's the word? Wish list. TLDR, slow, boring, repetitive with endless potential for a great sequel. But you didn't like the game. Well, why would you want a sequel? Gameplay is fun, but it's not enough. It's like playing an offline MMO with no charisma. The keyboard and mouse port is off. Why are you playing an action RPG on keyboard and mouse? The teleport and save system make everything more boring than it needs to be. The teleporting makes things more boring. I would argue that not having to run, 20 minutes back to the city makes the game less boring. But hey, each to their own, I guess. Actually, considering the fact that Dark Souls Remastered is still $57, yeah, maybe it does make sense this game is also $45. A lot of games just retain their price for a little bit longer than they probably should. Ugh. Speaking of things that are games, Segways. Who cares about Segways? Here's something that I really want to play. So this is a game called Little Witch in the Woods. I just found out about it recently, and it looks super, super adorable. So, I guess it's like a... I guess like a little RPG sort of thing. You play as a little witch. She has a glowing hat for some reason. I don't know why it glows, but it's cute. And you go around basically, from my understanding, collecting potion ingredients, and doing fun little things like that. Yeah, you get like the little, you grab things, you make potions, all that fun stuff. This is a really weird scene. You like pull the fucking rabbit's head apart. Like almost pull the rabbit's head apart. It's really cute, and it could have gotten really gruesome if it kept going for like a extra moment longer. Yeah, this little like this witch's house with a cold. Like look, it's got this nice little style to it. Like how could I not love this? It's currently gone into early access, so maybe I'll have to like give it a shot on stream or something like that. There's so many games that have been coming out recently that I really want to try out. Also, you get to fly around in a broom. Like, look how cute that was. Like, look at it. It's just adorable. Little witch in the woods. I don't know how much it costs to get the early... Why do you not have a link to the Steam page? What are you doing? Why do you not have a link to the Steam page in your promotional video? It is currently $20. And I don't know what it's going to cost when it comes out, but I imagine around about the same. Granted, it did just basically like 2 weeks ago enter early access. No, 1 week ago. 1 week ago enter early access, so don't expect everything in the game to be here. Like, that would be completely unreasonable. But I do have to see if there's actually something worth playing here. So become the main character, Ellie, and proceed with the story so that you can complete your apprenticeship successfully. Okay, the devs... English is not the devs' native language. Not a shot. That sentence is gibberish. It does have a Korean and simplified Chinese version, so I'm guessing that one of those is probably the dev's native language. Maybe there's multiple people working on this and it's both of them. But it's definitely not English, I can say that. Unless this also has 2 dots at the end of the sentence. Practice the teachings you learned at the witch school. Help people and make the world a better... Like, these sentences feel really stiff. Make friends with the charming characters in Village. In Village. Is the village called Village? And listen to the inner story they bear. If you can be their best friend, you maybe hear their secret. Gather and process materials to create potions. Why is there an exclamation mark there? The potions are useful in solving problems. I'm sure they are. Explore a mysterious fantasy world. You can find unique areas. You can meet cute creatures there. I did notice the rabbit where you try to tear its head apart. Interact with various creatures and fill in the information in the witch's book. Find a hidden place. You can get special items or find shortcuts there. What does that mean? Find a hidden place. You can get special items or find shortcuts there. This is definitely not Google Translate. I can say that for a fact. But it's definitely not a native speaker. Like, I've never heard any native speaker structure a sentence like this. Leisurely daily life to be updated later. Okay, fair enough. Chat with new friends and find out their tastes. If you give them the gift that suits their taste, you're able to get closer to your friends more quickly. Give your friends gifts and you become friends. This is basic game stuff. Sure, fair enough. The witch and the cat are inseparable partnerships historically. Communicate with cats living in various places. Their each personality will be as different as appearances. If you have a fateful encounter with a cat, the cat may want to spend every day with you, so you can adopt cats. Oh, that's cute. Sometimes you can fish and enjoy the peace. This game has fishing, already game of the year. Guaranteed game of the year right there. A relaxing rest will give you the energy to go on a vigorous adventure the next day. Man, these sentences are scuffed as hell. They're so scuffed, but I still love it. Like, if this game wasn't adorable, I would just be making fun of it. But, like, it's got such a cute art style. And even if the game, like, even if, like, the sentences end up making no sense, look, it's fine. It's totally fine. I'm still probably going to enjoy it. Let's see what the negative reviews say. The game has a lot of potential, but it's not much fun in its current state. I found the controls to be frustrating instead of whilst its arrow. Wait, what? Just rebind the keys. Surely the key has rebinding. Other keys are not intuitive, at least to US players. I'd be very surprised if the game doesn't have key rebinding. Developers, actually, sunny side up. I'll go to their website, see if I can find like where they're actually from. Yeah, we'll do that in a moment. On YouTube, on Twitter. Wonder if they say on Twitter. I recommend this game, but only to certain kinds of gamers. I could wait until patches and updates are implemented. What? I changed from recommending the game to not recommending it after I finished it. Okay. Here are some pros and cons for my POV. Mind you, the game has been out a little over a day at this point. The art and story is charming, fair enough. Pixel art graphics and derpy running animation is adorable, true. The story follows a young witch that misses her train and decides to stay and help the villagers. Oh, that's cute. Music is delightful, it has charm, it doesn't feel grating to the ears. The sound of creatures and menu is good, with a few exceptions, okay. The game is pretty straightforward. Find items, craft into potions. You can sell potions, sure. It's a relaxing game without any time limits. You aren't under any time constraints, so you should decide to put them on yourself with taking up requests that have you complete a potion within a day. Fair enough. The controls are pretty bad. You move with arrow keys. Your action button is Z with X for cancel. What? Wait, what? What are the... Okay, maybe the bindings are a little scuffed. There is no way to exit the game or enter settings during dialogue. You have to wait until it's over, and sometimes... Yeah, that's normal game design. What are you fucking... What? A lot of games are like this. Okay, there is autosave now. Unable to upgrade. This is a known bug. There are times you have items to progress with an upgrade, but the game just won't let you. Okay, that's just a bug. Sure, fair enough. Character's movement speed. You're given a stamina bar, which drops when you run. Okay. But crossing the map takes so long at a regular pace, even having the broom doesn't make it that much faster. And that breaks up. The broom breaks? Okay, sure. This was updated, but still not fixed to my liking. Most of those things are just, like, early teething issues by the sound of it. I really wanted to like this game, but I was unfortunately immediately put off by an awkward English translation. The interactions might be fun to read in the original language, but they came across very disjointed in English. Where are the devs from? Oh, South Korea. Yeah, that would explain the Korean translation then. I'm going to play it. I'm going to find out how scuffed these translations are, and we're going to have some fun with it. If they're very scuffed, you know what? Scuffed translations just makes for good content, to be honest. In any case, I need the Witcher's catalog. Okay. Wait, let's see if we can find... Is there any scuffed translations in here? We don't live one particular life for 1,000 years. Okay. I need 3 healing candies. I do like that most of the pictures don't show any of the translation. Which is, probably makes it... it probably makes it a little easier to push it. Wait, here we go. This is a blue moon butterfly. A butterfly that emits a soft blue glow from absorbing moonlight. It is sensitive to sound, but will not easily go away unless it feels especially threatened. That was the least awkward thing I've read about this game. That is literally the least awkward thing. But yeah, I'll check this out, see if it plays well. I presume that nobody on ProtonDB has looked at this game, so I'd probably be going into the game blind. Little Witch in the Woods. But it's an indie game, so most of the time... Take back what I said. It has a platinum rating. Battery performance limited TDP to 6. What? Oh, wait, I thought it was like messing with your system. No, you've just messed with your own system. Barely scrapes by its 30F. Why have you limited your TDP? What? Wait, you lowered your system performance and you expected the game to run better. Huh? Okay, sure. If you say so. Keyboard was not working, had to use a controller. You know what? That's fine by me. That's totally fine by me. I'd probably play it with a controller anyway. Yeah, pretty much. What else do we have here? Oh, actually, one thing I want to talk about, one thing with this new house I want to mention. So, my internet here has been, how do we put it? A little bit scuffed, I would say. So, it's been good most of the time. Let's actually run a speed test right now and see what it's like. So, at this house, we are supposed to have, I think it's like 50 by 20 or something. And sometimes it's really good. Right now, we're getting 32 down, which is totally fine. But the other night, actually the first night I got here, or first night I got here with the computer setup, so that would have been Sunday. I was getting 2.5 down by, the stupid thing, 2.5 down by 20 up. So for some reason, my download was incredibly saturated, but the upload wasn't affected whatsoever. So I don't know really what was going on there. At some point, we are going to be getting fiber, though. So fiber it's paid for now. It's going to take a couple of, I think it's paid for, or we're going with the free upgrade that we're getting. Either way, we're getting fiber at some point in the future. And when that happens, I believe the plan is, I want to say it's the NBN 250 plan. Yes, so it's going to be 250 by 100, which means you'd get more like 200 by, what? Probably 80 or so, which is great. I'm going to say it's great. I don't need the full 100 to be there. Like, that's already fine as is. Honestly, like, a good 100 by 50 would be more than I need. Like, I've been using 50 by 20 for so long anyway. Like, anything above that is just excessive in my mind. It's nice to be able to, you know, download a full game in, you know, whatever unreasonably short amount of time it's going to be. But I don't necessarily need it. I can go about my day not having that. And, you know, uploading a video where it's like, hey, instead of it taking 5 minutes to upload a video, it takes a minute. Like, I don't need that. But, you know, it's only a couple of dollars more expensive. And if it's going to be like that, maybe it's not the worst idea to get it. I would like, look, at some point, I would like to possibly get gigabit. I know there's a couple of places in Australia that do offer gigabit, but just because you have fiber at a house doesn't mean you can actually get gigabit in Australia. It's like, it's actually like a weird setup. So it's, most houses, if they have fiber, can max out at 250 by 100. But a couple of places, they are slowly rolling out the gigabit setup just to, like, I guess so they don't overload the network. But, man, the way the internet was handled in Australia, I feel like I might have mentioned this some point, but I don't know. Initially, every house was supposed to get fiber to the home. And that was going to be great. Then what happened is, because it was a government project, the government's changed, then the government that came in said, oh, it's too expensive, let's not do that. Even though the original plan was going to be basically to put us in line with countries like South Korea. Fiber to everybody in the home. If you want to get gigabit, you can get gigabit. Then the government changed and like, nah, let's not do fiber to the home. Let's instead do fiber to the node and then do copper to the home. That that massively decreased the cost, gave us a massive bottleneck because some places had ancient copper. Like if your house was from a region that had been built like 60, 70 years ago, it's going to be really, really old copper. So that became a problem. Then the government realized, oh shit, we actually need to do fiber to the home. And then ultimately, doing this half measure and then the full measure on top of it ends up being more expensive than just doing it properly from the start. This is the life of living in Australia. Our government has no idea what they're doing and will do stupid things because they're the Australian government. But there are some areas right now that are getting the option to upgrade to fiber for free. But if you don't want to wait, you can also pay, I think it's like, for us, it was going to be like $5,000, something like that, to get it upgraded. I was not paying it. That was my housemate that was paying it because it's his house. And if he wants to get the fiber, he can fucking pay for it. I don't know if he's actually decided to pay for it now or if he's going to just use the free upgrade. Because the free upgrade starts in July, I want to say. So the completion cycle wouldn't actually be that much later. Yeah, I think because my guess is it's probably going to be done around like October, November, which means there may come a point at some point during now and then where I don't have an internet connection. So I'll need to find some way to get around that. I don't know if it's going to be an issue or if they're going to keep they probably will keep the copper line there, so maybe it'll be like a seamless swap over or something like that. But if it's not, well, that's certainly more content that I can milk. That's for goddamn sure. And I guess the last thing I'll mention is, what is the last thing I'll mention actually? What is this? You share the source in a snap. What are you saying? What are these words that you're saying? Sorry, I'm just looking at my Twitter notifications. People on Twitter are people on Twitter. Where is... I planned way too much stuff today. Right, we'll talk about that. So, this happened as of... Yesterday, day before. I want to say yesterday... iFixit has now started offering Steam Deck parts. That was a part that currently is not available, that being the motherboard. That is going to be for sale at some point, they just haven't actually made it for sale. Right now, I believe there is 21 parts available. It's not everything you need to build a Steam Deck. Wait, was that say battery, or was that battery... Yo, the battery's for sale! Okay, well, I take back everything I said in my video about them not selling the battery yet, but that's changed. So the battery is $90 without the toolkit. It is out of stock, though, so you can't actually buy it. Does that mean the SSD is available as well, or is it just the battery? It looks like it's just the battery for now. Yeah, they haven't actually made the SSD available. Sad. But that will probably happen going some point into the future. Because they want to make every single part available. So if you want to repair, any aspect of your Steam Deck, then you'll be totally able to do so. I do hope that they do actually keep up that promise. So you could reasonably buy every single part and then build your own Steam Deck, or like custom build stuff and things like that. Going by the pricing that I saw though, I think it would be about, I want to say about $1,000. Considering that the parts we don't have available right now, at least $1,000 to actually build a Steam Deck completely from scratch, which is probably more than you want to pay for it, considering what the top-end Steam Deck is. It's like 500, 550, 600. I don't think it's much more than 600. I'm pretty sure it's not. So there is a big price differential there, but that doesn't mean that Valve was necessarily selling the devices at a massive loss. Obviously, I know they are selling them at a loss. They've made this pretty clear, and they're making it up like most console sellers do, making it up on selling games. Totally fair model. It's what it makes sense. But they are losing money. Not 400. My guess would be probably closer to like 200, because when you're buying a bulk hardware, you're buying a bunch of parts at once, then prices are going to come down. And iFixit also needs to make their cut on the top of this as well. They're obviously not just, you know, storing the parts and shipping out the parts out of the goodness of their heart. They are a business as well, so they are probably, I don't know what sort of margin they're taking on these parts, but they're clearly taking a margin of some description. Maybe they're not, actually. Maybe they're just maybe they're just making money selling tools and stuff. I couldn't say with how the inner workings of iFixit work. My assumption, though, would be they are taking some level of margin. So it probably would be a bit cheaper to buy the parts if you're actually buying them at wholesale, but you also can't buy them at wholesale. So it's not really a discussion that's really worth having. Like, we can discuss the imaginary prices of what the Steam Deck could possibly cost, assuming this, like, scenario that doesn't actually exist. But considering the scenario that does exist, yeah, you're not gonna be getting it at, like, you're not building, like, a 64 gig Steam Deck at $400. Like, the motherboard just by itself was $349.99. I do like that every single price in here, not a single price accepted is 99 cents. $24.99, $4.99, fucking $94.99. The motherboard, $349.99. Just like, you gotta do 99 cents. Like, who cares that it's obviously manipulating prices to make it look like it's far cheaper than it actually is? And everybody is aware that's what that practice is. But you know what? You're saving a cent. So, like, hey, it's clearly going to be so much cheaper. And it is a marketing tactic that has sort of just become accepted for what it is. Like, everybody knows what it is at this point. Nobody is unaware of what's being done. They're all fully aware that by putting 99 at the end of something, it tricks your brain into thinking that it's cheap, because, like, your brain sees the first number and you don't bother considering the rest. Like, that's why cars are always like, you know, $34,999, not $35,000, because it looks much cheaper. Like, your brain thinks you're saving like $1,000. In reality, you're saving $1, but it looks much better. Anyway, that's enough focusing on marketing nonsense. If you need Steam Deck parts, you can go buy Steam Deck parts. And hopefully you don't, but I'm sure someone's done something stupid with it and already managed to break something. But it is what it is. I presume that iFixit also has all of the tutorials you need to actually fix stuff as well. So I don't know, go look through their site and see what you actually need to see. So yeah, that's gonna be pretty much it for me. I was considering having a guest this week. I didn't get around to sending a message. I might send a message next week. We'll see what happens. But I want to settle in this house. I want to at least talk about the new room before bringing a guest on, and then, you know, not mentioning the fact that I'm in a completely different space when I'm recording the podcast. I might be changing, like, the camera location and things like that. Maybe this is how I'll record the podcast, but then my videos, I'll have the camera be a bit closer or something like that. I don't know. I'll think about it. When I get the monitor arms in, it's going to give me a lot more freedom in how I can actually play stuff. But that's a problem for another day. So, yeah, that's going to be pretty much it for me. Our gaming channel is Brody Opts and Plays. I will be streaming this week. I know I took last week off. And last week, as you guys are seeing this, that's called Brody being bad at taking a holiday and still wanting to take some part of a holiday, even though he didn't get his entire holiday because he's just bad at holidays. My main channel is Brody Robertson. I do Linuxy videos there and all of that fun stuff. The podcast is available as a video version. The audio version is available on the audio version available on audio places, on Anchor and iTunes and whatever other stuff you can find podcasts on. The video version's on YouTube. That's going to be it for me. And I'm out.